Hi, welcome back to Every Kid Can Play podcast. My name is Matt Duncan. Today we are here with two be the light people in this world is what we call. So be these people just shine light on people that are going through hard times, and they're the co-founders of BabyJays Legacy. It's Erica and Jason Souter. Erica and Jason, thank you for being on Every Kid Can Play podcast, and I'll just have you guys start and tell the viewers a little bit about yourselves.
Hi, I'm Erica. I actually grew up around the area. I grew up in Perry, and then after Jason and I got married, we moved to Lawrence. Our family has always been really close, and so we're very lucky and blessed to have them still close by as well, that, to help support us and the foundation. You got anything else? We have 3 kids. Jay was our oldest, and she would be almost 15. Oh, that's scary. And then we have a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old. So.
Yeah, I'm not from the Lawrence area. I'm from all over. My dad's a preacher and has been most of my life, so I've kind of jumped around the country a little bit through Arkansas and all over small town Kansas. We got married in '97, and like she said, we had 3 kids, and unfortunately Jay passed away in 2011 from this awful crap. And so we started the foundation in 2012 to help these kids, help them with the gaps that we saw in our support, because we had amazing support from families, but there were just those little things like bills and gas money and groceries that you didn't think about. And once we decided to start an organization, we're like, let's fill those gaps. Let's find a way. So that's why we're here, 8 years later?
That's awesome. I know I don't know how you guys feel, but I know it's probably one of the worst feelings in the world to lose a child. But seeing the way you guys have taken her legacy and build on that and put that your love of her into the community is awesome. You talked a little bit about the genesis of BabyJays, like how it was started and why it was started. Can you guys just kind of talk about like the first couple years of like the things you had to do to get put in place and the steps that you didn't realize you had to do to get stuff put in place?
So when we started the organization in 2012, we started with 7 of us, friends, a couple family members.
Yep, all people we knew.
People we knew. We started in our living room, and we had no idea what we were doing. None of us had ran a nonprofit before. We just knew that we had this desire and want to give back. Jay always wanted to make everybody laugh. She could walk into a room and say some little, remark, and the whole room would just giggle. And she always wanted to make everybody happy. And so we wanted to take her joy for life and give it back to people. Go ahead.
I'll just build on that while you're coughing.
No,
and like I said in my intro there, being able to provide these things for these families, we started out looking at research because we all want to kill this thing. We want to be done with it. I want to say BabyJays is done because cancer's gone, but right now we're not there. And so we wanted to do research, but we knew that we were a budding organization, and starting to try to give checks to big organizations, it's tough. It's tough to get those sponsors. So we said, how can we help differently? And we said, how about these little things? And I think our first payment to someone was like a $250 gift card so they could go get gas and groceries. And it changed their day, right? And we moved from there, and now we've expanded into, we have given money to research. We have given over $130,000 out to families in grants for gas, groceries, utilities, hotel stays, car repairs, all of that day-to-day thing that you and I take for granted that maybe our Visa card will take care of because we're stuck. Take someone that's already in a financial strain and then add cancer on top. And 50% of the time, one of the parents has to quit their job. Over 50% of the time, the parents get divorced. And they have to go through that in the middle of this. And so wherever we can help those little gaps to make life a little bit normal, that's what we do.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I don't know how to say anything to top that. What you guys do is definitely amazing. My next question is, how do you guys stay positive? Like, I know we're in a crazy world right now. You two just seem to like just be this positive light. I mean, I met Jason last year. I know he probably didn't see him, but I just saw him in passing. But I'm at the golf tournament last year. You know, I had one of the starting 5 last year is actually one of my adapted PE students. And so just how, in this crazy world, how do you guys just stay positive?
Oh, you know, it's hard. It's hard for every single one of us. Being able to look at my children and being able to see the smiles of the parents when we give them or we pay a bill for them. Getting a message from one of my parent or the moms saying that we have just taken so much stress off their shoulders because we made a car payment for them. Those things help me personally. Just making that little, knowing that we made that little difference. Being able to give a parent a hug. You know, in this day and age right now, that's hard to do. So I just try to be that listening ear and maybe bring a little smile to their faces just by listening. But it's hard, Matt. It really is. And we just lean on each other.
Yeah, I'll just say the same thing. It's seeing the light in these kids' eyes. It's one of the worst parts of COVID for us. Is one of the best things we get to do is to take this stuff to the family if they're close and deliver it, and to listen to their story and to listen to their frustrations, because we've lived it. We lived the whole thing. We went from the diagnosis to the end, and no one should have to go through this. No one should have to do it, but a small percentage of these poor kids have to. And if we can provide that little bit of light, if we can, you know, take that. We had one family that said they had gotten a disconnection notice for water that was the next day, and we took care of it for them so they could stay in their house. We kept a family from being evicted because their landlord was kind of being a jerk, and we called him and we worked it out. We fixed a car in Western Kansas so they could get to treatment. You know, it's those little things that I don't think most of us think about. So it's what we do, and that's what keeps us positive. And she's right, with COVID and everything else, it's really tough right now. And so we're trying, as a board, we actually have been talking about that the whole year, like, how can we reach out to these families in a COVID world? Because we can't do in-person things. We can't do in-person events. So that's what we do, man. It's very tough, and we have to build on each other to stay positive.
And, you know, one of the pieces of advice that I always give our parents is take each day minute by minute if you have to. Enjoy each hour if you have to. And just take it as slow as you have to get through the day, and enjoy as much of it as you can. There's things that are going to happen, and you got to just move on, because there's always something on the other side that is better.
Yeah. I get the whole not knowing what to do. I'm a big hugger. And this time in my life right now is a struggle, because I just want to hug, and then not getting to see my kids. I have to see them through Zoom. It's definitely hard. So I get that. Right. You kind of talked about it right now a little bit, but what is the biggest challenge, just saying a typical year, for running your guys' foundation? And is there anything that you feel like is the hardest thing to do, or anything like that?
I think the toughest thing for us, honestly, is finding the we're a grassroots organization. We started in our living room. Like we said, our first check was $800 from a local restaurant. But continuing to build sponsors and support for these families can be a struggle. And right now during COVID, it makes it real tough to reach out to a business that was closed for months and say, hey, can you write us a check? You talked about the Rock Chalk Round Ball Classic. We'll give them a little plug that their event has gone virtual this year, and it's going to be a 1-hour special on ESPN, which is cool. It's going to be great. It's going to be a 3-point shooting contest through all the like top 10 shooters in KU history. So it's going to be fun, but it's not going to be a golf tournament. It's not going to be a gala. You know, we have to give all that up. At the same time, I don't think we can be super negative because we're still helping these families. We're still doing these events, even if they have to be virtual. And the part that a lot of people don't realize during this, and I like to bring it up, is these kids wear masks all the time. They have to when they leave their house a lot of times, or if they can leave their house. And so at the end of the day, we just support them. We all wear our masks, and we're, like I said, our run this weekend our next weekend is going to be virtual. So, you know, distancing and everything.
And I think too, another aspect of, for us, reaching more families, you know, that's always our biggest challenge, is letting the families know that are in the pediatric cancer world that we're here to support them financially, emotionally, you know, whatever we can do. So that's always one of our biggest challenges, is getting our resources out to those families. So that's always one thing that we're always working really hard to do, is so that these families have the resources that they need while they're going through the treatment.
Just letting them know we're here. You know, getting into the bigger hospitals sometimes is a challenge, and making sure we're in the clinics, and we're still working on that. We do have brochures in with the Ronald McDonald House, and we have them in Topeka. But yeah, just every kid that's diagnosed, I want them to know, like, we see a child on Facebook and someone's commenting they have cancer, we will go out and we'll try to reach out to the family. And if they've been newly diagnosed, we will send them a welcome packet that has just little odds and ends in it to keep them busy, and maybe a gift card for the kid and the mom to go get a Starbucks, just so they know we're here. We're not counting that as any support or anything. It's just when you need us, because every parent that's been through this, that initial shock, you don't know what you need. You don't know where you're at. Every day is new and scary, but at some point through your journey, you may come to a point where you just need a little hand up, just a little bit, or maybe you need a house payment so you can catch up everything else. That's when we jump in. And so, yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Everybody that sees this, if you know a kid with cancer, contact BabyJays, because that's our biggest thing, is just getting our word out there, letting people know the help is here.
Just sharing.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure we link everything of your guys' in our stuff. You talked a little bit about some advice you have for parents, like when they get that first diagnosis, but do you guys just have some general tips or things people can do? But obviously contacting you, but things parents can do for advice that you guys have coming from your personal experience for them?
You know, when you first get that diagnosis and you hear those words, everything else is just kind of a blur. I still remember that day that I got the phone call, and then I couldn't tell you what happened the rest of the day. So my advice, you know, a lot of times to the families is just take it slow, go at your own pace, and focus on your child and your family. Don't worry about anything else at the moment, because this is a new normal that you have to learn, you have to adjust everything. It's not just financially. You have to adjust your mental thinking. You have to adjust your, you know, the way that you do your normal family routine. All of that is turned upside down. So I always tell the parents to just focus on their family and their child. Because once you get used to the new normal, then it kind of all falls into place and you get used to doing what you have to do to get your child healthy. And then that is your new normal from then on. It, you know, it never goes back the same. Whether, you know, you have a journey like ours or you have the positive side of the journey. It's changed. So yeah.
You'll always have that fear. It'll always, Jaden relapsed multiple times. And after each time you get that kind of sense of, oh, I can take a breath. But then you're like, you're scared all the time. When is she going to hurt again? When is it going to come again? We have 2 members of our board that have children that have gone through the journey and have come out on the positive end. They've done great, but they still have those fears. They still have a struggle with some of our stories that we have to deal. The families that request assistance, they're not all positive. A lot of families are asking for help because it is the negative journey and they just need help at the end. We have help with funeral expenses, you know, and it's the worst part of this job. It's the worst part of running this charity is that we get those 2. And we do our best to comfort those families and help them. We do help families up to a year after treatment, because when treatment stops, it doesn't mean all the issues stop. All of those side effects and all the things that you still have to do year out, you're still going to appointments and you're still worried, we still help. So yeah, I think find your circle of people that you trust and you love and hold on tight, because it's a long, hard ride. And those people will always be there. Initially, everyone wants to help, or everyone says they want to help. And I don't mean that to be negative, but everybody wants to help a person that has a child with cancer. But once the excitement at the beginning boils down, people have to go back to work. People have to go back to their lives and their families. So surround yourself with those people you know and trust, because you're going to need them. There's going to be days where kids spiked a fever and you've got to rush to the hospital, and you've got another kid that's got to be taken care of. We had neighbors that helped us. You know, we had friends that kept our other daughter for weeks on end while we were in the hospital. So that's my biggest suggestion. I tell people, find that circle. If you don't have one, contact BabyJays. She'll listen.
And that's the other thing is, if there's something that we can't provide, we know other resources, and we can always refer you to those resources. We don't want families to think that we're the only ones out there. We're not. We have lots of other wonderful friends that have other organizations and resources that they provide for families, and we're more than happy to, you know, link them up with those organizations as well if there's something that we can't do. But for families that are going through this, enjoy your family. Enjoy those moments that you see your kid just sitting there reading a book with their brother or sister. Those are the moments that you enjoy. Those are the moments that you take pictures of.
Because you don't bring. That's what I always tell people. You don't know what tomorrow is. And with us, tomorrow was horrible a couple times, and it just, yeah, she's right. That's a tough one, because you don't get those pictures back.
Yeah. So I was 11 and my dad passed away. And when you talked about, you know, people having to get back to their normal life, you know, I definitely saw that. You know, when my dad passed away, you know, everybody brought over food and everybody went to the funeral, and then your true people are there, like you said, a month after everything happened and 2 months after. Those are the people we talk about in sports world, who's in your corner, right? Like who's going to be in the corner of you for everything in life. So, yeah. Okay. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So let's try to get us back into a nice positive thing. All of us kind of went through some tough situations right there. I appreciate you guys being honest with me and everything, as I know it's definitely hard. I want you, if you could just kind of give us a general overview if how can people help BabyJays, and then I'll let you guys kind of talk about the different events that you guys have going on. So if you want to just talk basically generally with BabyJays, and then we can talk about, like, I know you guys have a run coming up. I signed up for that, and then the Round Ball Classic. So the platform is yours.
The best way to get a hold of BabyJays is to go to babyjayslegacy.org. It's all one word. And we've got volunteer forms that you could fill out that we'll put you on a list for when we can get back to having lots of volunteer events. We obviously request direct cash donations. We do have lots of virtual type events coming up, but the best way to help is a direct donation at this point. If you go out to Facebook and follow us, we have lots of posts out there, lots of posts about the families that you could follow, lots of posts about just good stuff is what we try to push out there. Right now, lots about the run because it's coming up next weekend. So that's the easiest way to help right now. Hopefully in the future, like you experienced at the golf last year, you know, I thought we put on an amazing event, and we have such good volunteers and such good communities to support us. Lawrence has really supported us, and we're starting to reach out more so that, you know, a lot of times we get that question, well, you're in Lawrence and I'm in Kansas City. Yeah, that doesn't matter. We as long as your child is treated at CMH in Kansas City, KU Med, or Stormont Vale in Topeka, doesn't matter where you're from, we will assist you. And all it takes is a simple form on our website. It takes about 5 minutes to fill out. Our board just looks it over, and next thing you know, this one reaches out, and her touch with these families is amazing. And it's one of the greatest assets we have because she's experienced everything they've gone through. She probably knows the diagnoses and the drugs better than some of the doctors because she hears them all, right? I mean, she hears every one of these parents, and I look over her shoulder and I read the notes from these parents that are just like, oh my God, you know, I had to talk today and you were there. Our water was going to get shut off. You helped us. Our gas was going to get shut off. We're looking in the near future into expanding into like a weekly call, like a Zoom, where the moms could dial in and just talk, or parents in general can just talk about their issues, talk about the things that are going on. No charge, no nothing, just a light to the day. So we'll be doing that soon. We do have a virtual run coming up next weekend. We talked about events. The Rexy Run, Erica's sporting one of our older shirts. We went virtual this year due to COVID. Obviously, with BabyJays being a health charity, we take that very, very seriously. We will be doing physical packet pickups, but they will be distanced with gloves and masks, handing out the packets and people just leave. And then you just run it on your own accord. It's an easy way to give to the charity. You can go out.
But you can bike or swim.
You can bike, you can swim, you can kayak. You can, if you want to run, that's fine. I don't run much. But you know, it's a way to easily help. It's cheap. I believe it's $30 to get in. You get a medal, you get a bag. That's my son. And so after that, like I said, we do the next weekend. BabyJays will be a partner with the Rock Chalk again on August 28th at 7, I believe, and it'll be more information online. But they will be doing a televised 3-point shooting contest with some of the biggest and best of KU shooting lore of Jeff Boshi. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that.
They're not announcing them all yet.
He can edit.
Boshi has been announced, so that's okay.
Boshi's fine. I won't announce the rest.
He's been on social media.
But it's going to be great. BabyJays is going to get 25% of that, and we're looking to raise at least $40,000. And what's going to happen with that money is amazing. I love it this year. So there were 13 kids nominated, and because it's a smaller year, we selected 3 instead of 5. But I worked with Brian Haney, and BabyJays is going to take the money they give us, and we're going to grant that to the other 10 families so that they have at least $1,000 coming from us to help them support during this COVID. I know lots and lots of people are struggling. All 13 of these families were absolutely deserving. I've been doing this since 2012, and I had the 13 in front of me, and I just I don't know who to tell no. And so we're going to help there, and I'm excited about that. And then later in the year, around Thanksgiving time, we'll be doing our Cards for Kids event. We're always excited about that. Last year we adopted 17 families, and we let the community help. We let the community buy presents for them and gift cards. And then we jump in and help with gift cards, and every family gets a pile of gifts and at least $500 in gift cards for them to go buy groceries and other toys, anything they want, so that they can have a Christmas together. Erica talked earlier about taking nothing for granted when you're on this journey. And I remember Jay's last Christmas, but I didn't think about it at the time. It was just Christmas. So yeah, that's another big one. And we're gonna
It's gonna be a little different.
It's gonna be a little different because we're not probably gonna want to get a lot of physical gift cards. It's probably gonna be more virtual. And we're also gonna incorporate, I'm really excited about this, a pledge drive, so that people in the general community can get in and say they help at a small spot. So if you throw $5 in monthly, and you can help the organization every month, help these families. And it's an easy way for you to get in and help without having any COVID concerns, without having to go run or kayak or boat. You can throw that $5 or $10 our way monthly, and it'll go directly to these families. So be looking for that in the fall. That's going to be really exciting. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just sharing information.
Yep.
Creating awareness for these kids. That's the biggest thing. The more awareness that we get out there, then that means more funding for us to be able to find these clinical trials that actually work to help cure this horrible thing. Because that's all of our dream is to not have this. So yeah, share any information about childhood cancer that you know is correct and a good source. Share it so that people are aware.
Awareness is big, yeah.
And then September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, correct?
Yeah, so you'll be seeing lots of statistics from us, stories about kids and their journeys, lots of other things on our social media platforms and website. So yeah, there'll be lots of good information to share coming up.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everything you guys did for that. Now I always end this with like putting the people on the spot, just asking some fun questions. So you guys ready for this?
Sure.
All right. If you could only eat one food the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh.
Steak.
I don't know. I'm not real picky.
You said you have to pick one.
I would probably say pasta because I'm not supposed to eat it. And I don't eat it very often.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a big steak guy too. So, and pasta, I can do it all too. You guys are flipping through the channel and this movie comes on and you have to stop and watch it.
Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Deadpool.
Nice. Yeah, two good ones. Don't know how much time you guys get by yourselves, but what do you guys like to do for a date night?
Date night.
Living in Lawrence, we have a lot of great restaurants.
Mhm.
And so I think that's one of our favorite things is to hit one of the local spots. And in COVID land, obviously go get pickup. And, we would go out to a movie, but not doing that right now. So right now it's coming home and telling the kids to go to their rooms so we can watch a movie. And we are
There you go.
that's date night, right? If
There you
it
go.
don't bother you for more than 30 minutes, I believe that's date night.
That's date night. There you go.
I mean, they've been stuck in the house since March. So
Yeah, I understand. And then my last one is anything you guys want to say to the people who might listen to this, just kind of as like a wrap up or anything like that?
I just want to say thank you for the support, because the support for us and for the childhood cancer community in general, it is amazing. And we couldn't provide the type of assistance that we are able to provide without the support of the community. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It means more than anything.
Absolutely. Thank you to everyone. And like she said, just keep bringing the awareness. Go follow us on Facebook. That's where we put a ton of our information, and Twitter and Instagram. I don't run social media. Scratch that. Facebook and Instagram. I don't do the social media, obviously. But man, we're going to have some great information out there, and just keep spreading the word. You know, we've helped so many, over 130 families, I believe, in 8+ years, many of those many times. So when we say 130, a lot of people will go, that's it? Yeah, but we've given out over $130,000. I believe we've done research grants up to $30,000. I mean, we've made a difference. We just started research last year, but we've made a difference. So if you can spread the word, you can follow our page, support the people that support us, and just support these kids. You know, they are going through a journey that I always joke, watching Jaden and watching these kids, I'm always amazed by the lack of sad faces. They always try to look happy. They want to be happy. And if I was dealing with what Jaden did, I would have crawled in a corner and cried. And so the bravery that these children bring amazes me every day, and it awes me. So
yeah,
let's spread the word. Let's help these families out. Every little bit helps. And we always say every dollar helps. Every dollar you donate, every dollar of awareness you spread helps these kids.
Yeah. You'll never see a more brave human being than looking at a child and seeing them fight cancer.
I'd agree.
And you'll realize if they can do that, then you can do anything.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you both so much for being on here. Guys, this has been Every Kid Can Play podcast. Remind you, every kid deserves a chance.